I would like to introduce you to Dr. Juan Gomez, who is going to just say a few words of hello and bienvenidos.
Good morning. My name is Juan Gomez, and well, good evening. My name is Juan Gomez, and I'm the president and CEO of Centro. And this institution has been around since 1977, and it has been the venue where the community has met for very important issues. And that's part of our heritage, that's part of our history, and that's part of what we do, that's part of our commitment to the community. We're pleased and honored to have you and to host this event, working in collaboration with all the fine organizations that Dr. Deborah Gonzalez mentioned. Welcome once again to Centro for the first time. Welcome if you've never been here before. It used to be called Centro Las Americas. It is now just Centro because we want to make sure that people understand that this is a multicultural, multilingual, multi-service organization that has been around for 44 years, and we look forward to being here 44 more. So if you know anyone that needs any kind of assistance, please send them our way. We'd be happy to serve as best we can or refer them somewhere else if they can't. And now I turn over the mic to Dr. Deborah Gonzalez, who used to be our chair at one point.
Thank you, Juan. And now I would like to introduce you to Edgar Luna, who is going to talk to us a few words about important findings out of 2020 census.
Hello, everyone. I wasn't quite prepared for this today, but I will be quite brief. As he indicated, my name is Edgar Luna. I work for the City of Worcester Economic Development, and I was in charge, actually, of Census 2010 and also Census 2020. It is quite interesting to see how the demographic changes have happened. And today I'm here to share some information with you. Perhaps some of you already know that, but if you don't, I would like to share that information with you. After overcoming many challenges during Census 2020 related to the to COVID-19 and also for unfriendly voices coming from Washington, we managed to succeed at implementing an effective campaign in the city of Worcester, and I believe that that was done also in other parts of the country. As a result of that, the census demonstrated that in the city of Worcester we have 206,518 is the total population. But in spite of the fact of the negative voices that we heard about the citizenship question and other challenges that we faced, we had a message for the Latino community that was very simple. No tengas miedo. Don't be afraid. And today, the radio station that is here today was one of the people that allow us to convey that message. As a result of that, in the city of Worcester, now we have 50,736. I also have the total population of Caucasian individuals or white people, to put it briefly, and that came to be 101,039. And then we have the other subgroups like Latinos, African Americans, and Asians. When you combine those numbers, we come to 105,479. I am sure that most of you have heard that the United States, by the year 2045, will in fact become white minority or minority majority. Well, I am here to tell you today that when you add the numbers of the minorities in the city of Worcester, Worcester, the second largest city of New England, is already a white minority city. We are but we should not ever think that that is some sort of negative information. I think that we all can work together for the future because we all belong to the same country. This is a country that is good for everyone, and that's the message that I hope that you can hear and you can understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Edgar. With that said, the format of the event tonight follows a very simple sequence. First, we're going to have a segment of youth questions. Then we're going to have a segment of parent questions, open questions for the remainder time, and closing remarks. To all the leadership here in attendance, I want to thank you for your support. Thank you, Dr. Pedraja, for being here, President of QCC. It's great to see all the leadership from the school committee that took the time here. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Mari Celis Gonzalez and Andrea.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here, attending today. So everyone knows me as, my full name is Maricelis Gonzalez, but I go by Mari Gonzalez. I'm going to take off my mask real quick. So I'm here representing El Buen Samaritano. I'm also parents of the Worcester Action Group. I am the chair of beautiful group in the city of Worcester of many parent leaders that take off their hats to be a voice of a mom. And, it's amazing. And I also want to just thank Centro for hosting this evening again. And I would like to thank the candidates as well for you guys running today as school committee. So thank you for being here as well. And also, just want to let everyone know that we are streaming this discussion via YouTube and also Facebook Live through Expresso Latin Radio, YouTube, and Facebook Live. So for those who are watching, thank you for being here with us today. We know that we are facing one of the greatest challenges in our times, right? And with the pandemic has contributed to the widening of disparity and that already existed and increased in the needs of our students and families in the areas of social and emotional support. And we are living in these times that we need to be more united. We need to show love. We need to be compassionate. And we as a group and as a community and as a city, we need to express all that. And I know that, everyone that's running here, I know that you guys will continue doing a good job and continue showing that community sense. And for those that are running new, I know you guys will also give what the community wants, right? Because it's all about what the community needs and what the city, wants. And I hope that you guys have an open heart and just listen and try to come up and with a solution and just come up with ways that that our city will work best. So I understand that, the role is important and today's stakes and is really high. And we want to congratulate all of you for making this decision in this journey, because I know it's been hard, right? Social media, the community, people can say all these things and all of that, but I know you guys have a good heart and why you guys are running. So I commend all of you guys for showing up here today and for being here as well. So with that being said, I also want to acknowledge the work of the Education Subcommittee of Leon, which is the Latino Empowerment Organizing Network, for meeting and to put this event together. We also want to acknowledge the organizations that are behind this event. They are as follows. So again, we have the Latino Empowerment Organizing Network. We also have the Worcester Community Connections of U Inc. and affiliated of Seven Hills. We also have Worcester Interfaith. We have Latino Education Institute, which is LEI. We also have Youth Civic Union. We also have LABO, which is the Latino Association of Business Organizing. We also have El Buen Samaritano. We also have Centro, and we also have some media sponsors, and of course, Worcester Family Partnerships and WHA. Now I would like to introduce you to Andrea Delgado for a few words, one of our youth that actually goes to the Worcester Public Schools, and we're here to present her. And Andrea, this is all you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Delgado. I am a senior at Worcester Tech and a member of YCU. And now you're asking me, what's a YCU? It's any after-school program that focuses more of educational issues with youth, but especially youth of color. I would like to review the rules of engagement for tonight's conversation. You have been seated in order by your last name, and we will use that order for tonight's questions. Each candidate will be given 1 minute for opening statements and introduction responding to the following questions. Describe one issue, item, or role you have had that you feel as particularly impact Latinos, families, and tell us about it. We will have 2 segments of 25 minutes each with questions from youth and parents. You will be given 2 minutes to answer those questions. We will have any audience segments of 10 minutes at the end of the discussion. We will screen the questions before you receive them. You will have 1 minute for a closing statement. Once again, thank you for being here tonight.
Andrea, you're the best, Andrea. So we would like to officially start tonight's conversation by thanking all candidates and asking, of course, Ms. Diane Biancara. Did I do it? Did I say it right? I did. Okay. Awesome. So she can start her introduction as well. We're going to introduce all the committee members.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Diana Biancaria, and I ask for your vote on November 2nd. In 2020, the full status was 22,000 students with 9,666 Latinos. Those numbers change daily. When I look at the big picture, I think of the LEI, the Latino Education Institute that is at Worcester State University in the Solid Connection. Dual language programs, after-school programs. At Worcester East Middle, we're beginning a new one. At Claremont, just to name a few. The evaluations that we do for our students to leverage their base and how we address their needs, looking at the whole student. Our budget for translation is $860,000. We have dual language programs, college campus access, recognition of the seal of literacy for our high school graduates, IAs that work with our students every day in our schools. Thank you. My name is Diana Biancaria.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I think. No? Can you hear me now? Good evening. My name is Jermaine Johnson. I am a lifelong Worcester resident. I grew up and I attended Worcester Public Schools, graduating from South High in 1992. I am currently a social worker for the Department of Children and Families, working with children and families for over 21 years. You know, one of the most significant parts, I mean, besides working with families, the Latino community through my work and engaging them and working with them through the process of Worcester Public Schools, IEP, different meetings, along with ensuring that they're safe and healthy at home and have all the things that they need. One prominent thing I think I have contributed to the Latino community is being involved with the Fathers Nurturing Program, which was, you know, a lot of it was predominantly Latino community. I ran that Father's Nurturing Program along with Worcester Community Resource Center, along with U-Inc. and Seven Hills, in collaboration with that. And I also ran a family nurturing program as well. So I work with fathers to get back to the community, to give them insight, mentoring, and counseling on how to be that father figure in the home and to raise your children in a positive, nurturing manner. Again, my name is Jermaine Johnson. I would love to get your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gemma Kamara, and this is my second time running for the Worcester School Committee. I am asking for your vote come November the 2nd, and I hope that you do consider my candidacy. Born and raised in West Africa, Liberia. I moved to the USA when I was 11 years old. Similar story to many of the Latino families and kids in Worcester that starts public school here very late. I started public school, and I remember the first thing when I started that they wanted to put me in an ESL class because my Liberian accent was very strong. And I remember because my father worked in the Worcester Public Schools, he said, well, no, because oftentimes he knew that kids that were put into the ESL program, they didn't get from there whether or not they were smart or not. So I was, didn't go into the ESL, but I was put into other classes and honors in the Worcester Public Schools. And I remember that was a very different experience for me. Going to school here in Worcester really changed my perspective in how I see the community and how I've worked with the community. I have close ties with the Latino community here. I've worked with the community through LEI, having taught sexual education in one of their programs. I have been to Dominican Republic to understand what it actually means to be, or to learn what the cultural implication it is as a Latino living in that country, but then also being here in America too. And as many of you know, the data shows that Massachusetts is one of the worst places for Latinx people, as well as other data. And that's what I'm asking you this year. November the 2nd, I want your vote, and I wish that you do vote for me because we have a real chance to elect diversity on the school committee for a person such as myself to represent our community, you and your kids and your family, for a person like myself to be in your community and hear your voice and bring your voice to the school committee. So I hope that November 2nd that you cast your vote for me. Thank you.
Since I'm new, I'm going to follow Gemma's lead and stand up. My name is Sue Coughlin, mailman, and I guess I am supposed to ask for your vote on November 2nd, too. I'm a business owner in Worcester. I currently chair the board at Quinsig. I've been involved with a ton of different agencies and, YW, United Way, et cetera, et cetera. If you ask for one issue that's on my mind about this run for school committee, it's about data and it's about transparency. And so I was involved with the strategic plan as a member of the business community, and the thing that struck me is no matter where we're going in this city, we've got to strive for excellence for all students here. And we have to also be transparent about where our issues are. So where's the data? Where are the, and I think sometimes there's no question in a district this big that it's hard to get to the data, but there's ways to do it. And even if we don't think we have all the information, I would like our leadership, and I think it's part of a school committee's job as policy and governance and budget to make sure that we're putting information out in this public school system. And so if you vote for me on November 2nd, that's what I'm going to be thinking about. And the Latino community really rose up and said, we're looking for the data, and it's been difficult to get. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Molly McCullough, and I'm running for my 4th term on the Worcester School Committee. In response to the topic provided, something that I am currently advocating for our Latino, Latinx families, and other non-English speaking families is additional translation services for our meetings that are held via Zoom. While we have used these translation services over the past year, they are not currently used during each meeting that we hold. I have spoken with several Spanish-speaking families after seeing messages on our Facebook feed who feel that they are missing out on key information that is being discussed at meetings. While the agenda and backups can be read in Spanish and many other languages on our website, additional questions or discussions that are happening at meetings are only currently in English, providing a deficit to those Spanish-speaking and other non-English-speaking families. I believe that this is an opportunity for us to have more family participation and equitable access for non-English speaking families. Consistent translation services across the board are crucial for us to continue and to increase family engagement and involvement for our non-English speaking families. Another key area of importance is our work on the impact of COVID-19 on our students of color as we return to school buildings. I anticipate the opportunity to speak more specifically about that topic during this forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tracy O'Connell-Novick, and I'm currently running for my 5th term on the Worcester School Committee. I'm the mother of 2 Worcester Public School graduates, both of whom are now in college. I'm also the mother of a current Burncoat High School sophomore. Among the experiences I've had while I was on the Worcester School Committee is I was honored to be asked to serve twice on the Latino Education Commissions that put out reports having to do with data, and particularly looking at the educational experience of our Latino students in the city, but also then more broadly looking at the experience of Latino families across the city. I will say that in terms of that has focused my attention most particularly because, of course, something that wasn't quite said this evening, but I think is important, is that we are a plurality Latino district, not a majority, but a plurality in terms of the largest group that is represented in the Worcester Public Schools. My own experience as a parent has been largely shaped by that. My youngest daughter, who currently is at Burncoat, has been in the dual language program since she was in kindergarten, spending at least 50% of her time learning in Spanish. What that's given me has been the experience that's a bit closer than an experience that I've had with my other children, which is that at least half of her homework that she brings home I can't help with, which is an unusual experience for someone who has a master's degree in education. It has made me much more greatly appreciate the experience of the parents in our system whose children are learning English in our system, who themselves may not be fluent in English. And that very much has informed my own education and my own advocacy, and it will continue to do so.
Thank you. My name is Chanel Susi, and I also am running for Worcester School Committee. For anyone who doesn't know, 70% of our Worcester Public School students are currently living in low-income households. I, too, was raised in poverty. At the age of 14, I was raising my own child also in a low-income household. By age 15, I was homeless and reliant upon every form of government assistance. In spite of all the trauma and hardship that I went through, I set it in my mind to fight for a better future for myself and my children. Today, I am a graduate of North High School, a licensed electrician in the Boston Union, a licensed master barber. I owned a barber shop here in Worcester for 9 years, servicing the community. Quite a large population of Latino and African Americans. I was pretty much an urban barbershop, built many relationships with the Latino community, families, and children. And today I am running for Worcester School Committee to be a powerful voice, a unique voice, to add to the school committee as I understand what majority of the families and parents are living through. Today, my son is 25. He's doing amazing. He's beaten every single statistic out there. Never been incarcerated, no children. He, too, is also an electrician. I also have 2 younger boys, 17 and 16. One just graduated from Doherty High School, and the other one is currently still at Doherty High School. If I were to describe one role out of many that I've had that has impacted Latino families, I would have to say my role as a follow-up leader for an organization called Hope for Worcester here in Worcester. Throughout the year, we have several events in which we service the community, giving many provisions and food. We just have a great day where families are able to get portraits, family portraits that they may not otherwise be able to have access to, food provision. and other resources. And during these events, we take their information, of course, if they're willing, and we follow up with them. And I am the leader of that follow-up team, and I have the privilege of often praying with families, also per their request, referring them to partner churches, mentoring them, and also referring them to and connecting them to community services that they may need.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all the candidates, as well as give them a round of applause again. Number one, yo quiero decir perdón, for the translation. So aquí hay muchas familias que le hablan español. Okay, so perdona de eso. So ahora para adelante con el candidato, nosotros vamos a hablar inglés y español. So Deborah will do the translation. So we will be having translation service, translation as well with the questions and then with your answers. Okay? So gracias y perdona from the beginning. Okay? Gracias.
Once again, thank you for participating in tonight's discussion. We would like for you to know that youth of color make up 71% of Worcester Public School students, and because of this important statement, our questions are influenced by this reality. I would like to call on Amel, Renee, and Ian, who will be asking you tonight's questions.
El primer segmento de preguntas es por el grupo de jóvenes, Ian y no pude capturar el otro nombre. Ian, ok, y Renee van a hacer la primera pregunta.
So I can do it.
So hello everyone, my name is Amel. I go to Worcester Tech and I'm a sophomore. So my question is, what is your vision for education in this community?
La pregunta es, un momento por favor. ¿Cuál es su visión en cuanto a educación en esta comunidad?
Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure if I even need the mic, but you can hear me. What my vision is in this community is to make sure that we're accountable, that we have transparency, that we have all of the opportunities for every student in our school. If you look at the history of my voting and what I have advocated for, it's career path programs, whether they are going to college or they're going off to work to not only support themselves, but to support their families. That cost is through Perkins funding, and those courses are called Chapter 74. When I first got onto the school committee, I asked how many we had. We had below 20. We're up to almost 30 courses now. That's what I have fought for, and that's what I will continue to fight for. Safety in our schools. I know that we have had many community discussions about the SROs in our school. I look forward to what the city manager is going to present to the school committee. We don't pay under school committee for the SROs, for the safety officers in our school. It's under city funding. So at this time, there's an ad hoc committee put together by our city manager at Augustus that will be presented to our school committee so then we can have a discussion on what we're going to do. What I see is success for every student. Thank you.
Eso va a ser un poco difícil interpretar en cuanto a cada una de las palabras, pero en resumen, para Diana Bianqueria, lo importante es la transparencia, poder contar con los números correctos, y también la importancia para ella en cuanto a las familias y el esfuerzo de las familias para criar a sus hijos. También en cuanto a los programas alternativos a tener a policías en las escuelas, ella está totalmente de acuerdo con que eso sea una iniciativa que reemplace lo que ha estado en vigencia hasta estos momentos y que gracias a la directiva del el City Manager se ha quitado hasta el momento.
I do. I will stand now. So, in regards to the future of students here in Worcester Public Schools, I'm looking for a safe and healthy schools. You know, during the pandemic, you know, I have two kids in the Worcester Public Schools, a 4th grader and now a 7th grader. You know, we really struggled during COVID, and what we found out during that time was how lacking at times and in certain areas that the Worcester Public Schools were. So, you know, I'm looking for safe and healthy schools. You know, the drinking water in our schools are unsafe. One of the reasons why we couldn't go back to school was, you know, the schools were not up to par. The air quality, the air ventilation. I wanted to continue to improve on that. The social emotional supports, again, you know, I spoke with a principal yesterday and I said, you know, one thing I think we really need to focus on is ensuring that the social and emotional supports for the kids are in place prior to going and now pushing the academic piece. Because without that social and emotional support that these kids need and our kids need, my kids need, the academic piece is really still going to struggle. We have a long road ahead of us during we're still in the middle of the pandemic. We still have a long road ahead of us moving forward, and we all need to work together. Again, I've been an adolescent social worker for 21 years. I'm also big into youth programming. I think what happens is as our kids start to get older and age out of school, and we need to invest in internships, mentorships, connect with the businesses here in Worcester to give them those outlets to be able to do things that they're interested in. And with the new schools that are being built now, like South and the Dohertys and the Worcester Tech, with all the things that they have, these kids should be geared towards that and be given that opportunity also out in the community. Thank you.
Para Jermaine Johnson, la prioridad es que tengamos escuelas salubres, saludables y seguras. Sus hijos en 2º y 4º grado, luego de la pandemia, pasaron con él experiencias que le hicieron realizar cuáles son las deficiencias del sistema público de las escuelas de Worcester que necesitan más atención. Para él lo más importante es que los estudiantes estén preparados para que cuando terminen la escuela puedan continuar un futuro donde hay otras alternativas que tienen que ver con su desarrollo en cuanto a las carreras y a las profesiones que deseen seguir.
So what is my vision for education here in Worcester? That's a very great, important question. So seeing the fact that I myself went to public schools here in Worcester, graduated from Sullivan Middle, Canterbury Street School, Sullivan Middle, South High, seeing the fact that I came here having not known the American English, I could well say that the opportunity for every kid in our public schools, whether they speak any foreign language, whether they're first generation here, or whether they've lived here their whole lives, is that they all have the same opportunities as, you know, as their white counterpart students. And how we do that is to, number one, I said we need to improve the communication with the Worcester Public Schools, communication with parents, with kids. We need to be able to listen to kids in our public schools because they have some valuable things to share with us. We also need to use the community resources because the community resources like organizations like Centro, like LEA, that have the important language literacy skills, they can be used to reach out to parents that speak Spanish or Portuguese or other languages. ACE the African community, Southeast Asian Coalition, the Asian community, and all the organizations that serve the diverse community. I also envision technology accessibility in our schools. We have, looking at the COVID and looking at future improvement, we can do more to provide programs, STEAM program, STEM program for kids in our public schools so that when they are ready and prepared